Hi guys, and welcome back to another video game with the powers. I'm Jake, and in today's video I'll be giving you guys my review on Bedeville Carnival, the collector's box edition, coming to you from Loodo Ninja Games. I will not be showing you guys how to play the game today, so if you are interested in wanting to know how this game is played, I'm going to go ahead and link my how to play video up here. You guys can take a look at that to see the actual game in action, and I actually do a couple sample turns in that video, so go ahead and check that out. In today's video, we're just going to be, I'll just be giving you my thoughts, opinions, and my breakdown of the game in different categories. But let's go ahead and dive straight into my review, guys. So starting off with the theme, I'm going to go ahead and give the theme here an 8 out of 10. Look, I think this is a great theme for this game. So essentially, the theme of Bedeville Carnival, right, is there's this carnival that essentially comes into town, and it's next to a graveyard, and there's like magic. The carnival, or like something happens to where like all you awaken from the graveyard, and you play a bunch of different characters with like cool little abilities and things like that, and you awaken during the middle of the night when the carnival is shut down, and you want to go on these rides. And you get joy from these rides, and then you spend that joy on souvenirs and take all this stuff kind of back with you. But you got to watch out for the gravekeeper, Mr. Carl, because he realizes that you've kind of escaped and you're going all these rides, and so he's trying to hunt you down along with his pet cat, Mr. Fleabag. So I think the game does a great job here of tying the thematicness of the game with the actual mechanics of the game itself, right? You have a bevy of different characters to play from, and each character has their own unique abilities or theme amongst themselves, right? Like you have football players, you have singers, you have mechanics, you have like guys that graduated, you got bikers. Like they have their own personality to them, and then those people have their own special abilities that like player powers pretty much that you can use throughout the game, which is kind of specific to their personality, which is really unique. But it does a great job mechanically of essentially the board is a circle, you're moving around the board with your piece, going to these different attractions, and you're collecting joy from those attractions and then using that joy to spend and get these souvenir cards, right? And then like I said, you got to be careful because these attractions make noise, and Mr. Carl is attracted to that noise, and if he lands on the same spot as you, he catches you, and you got to kind of go back to the graveyard and be in timeout for a second. So I think Loodo Ninja and Bedeville Carnival did a great job here tying this theme into the game mechanically. So it is going to be an 8 out of 10 for me. All right, moving on to the components. As always, guys, I'm going to go ahead and drop down to the table. We're going to open this bad boy up. I'm going to give you my take on the components, show off a lot of these components to you, and then give you my review, and then bring you back up top. Or give you my opinion on the components, my rating, and then bring you back up top here and continue on with the rest of the review. Alright guys, so we're down here at the table where we got the Bedeville Carnival game. So it is a nice box. I love the artwork here on the box. Again, this is the collector's box here. And so you open it up, you got the rule book here. Nice standard rule book. I do love how they have this little sheet of all the extra components that come in the actual game. But let's kind of dive into some of these components here. Look, you got a really nice cloth bag, and on the inside it is nice, and it's got like a felt material inside. This bag feels super nice. It's got a cool little print on it. The board itself is just a standard feel of what a typical game board would look like, but again, it has like this really cool artwork on the back, and it's very vibrant. I like how like on this board you can see the like whole carnival itself is on the board. So very, very great artwork here. And then like I said, on the back of this board, they just have like a cool cool artwork or some of the characters in the game. Like I said, you got like a biker, a singer, like a football player, and some of these characters are modeled after like pop culture. So this girl, her name is Cindy, kind of like off Cyndi Lauper, and I think this girl is Wednesday, kind of like off Wednesday Addams. So really cool job with the artwork, okay? What really stands out for me, we got some joy markers hiding is just the structure of how like the trays and how everything fits. Everything is nice and compact. There's room for everything when everything is sleeved. So that's really, really cool. And everything is in position and rarely ever moves. So you got this nice little screen here. Taking a look at some of these, like I said, you have the cards of the actual game. The artwork on all of these attraction cards are just so awesome, and it really, really stands out here. And then the characters themselves, like I said, here's some characters with their given player powers. All right. You got these souvenir cards, same thing, sleeved as well, and the artwork and details on some of these souvenir cards are cool and funny and very horror and hilarious at the same time. So really great job with the artwork. The cards, these are like tarot size cards. And they feel really, really smooth and nice there. Some of the other components, you got these generic cubes, which are noise markers, but they feel nice, like a matte finish on these cubes. Of course, you have acrylic standees of all the characters in the game, including Mr. Carl. This is a phenomenal add to the game to have these acrylic standees, and that all came in this collector box edition. You got all the stands as well, and like I said, everything has their own unique thing. You have these player screens which serve as like a player aid here, and they also have cool little artwork. You know, you got these nice metallic coins here, and then you have this heavy, thick metallic ticket, and then finally you have the resources themselves, which again, kind of like these. Kind of like the noise markers, they just have this nice matte feel to them, and they work really well. And then also you have these really cool 3D cardboard coffins that you put together where you can kind of hide like your joy markers and all of your souvenirs. So the production value here, I feel, is really, really well done. It is excellent production value, excellent storage of how they have everything and the way everything gets put back together. It's very seamless. You don't have to worry. Can have these sleeves cards in here. So for me, I'm gonna go ahead and give these components a 9 out of 10. All right, let's go ahead and jump back up top for the rest of my review. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump right into the setup. So I'm gonna go ahead and give these setup an 8 out of 10 here. I think the setup is very simple, very easy, and very quick. Essentially, you're just getting that board out in the middle of the table. You're putting those attraction cards around the board, souvenir cards around the board. Everybody picks a player. They put that player in that position. You put Mr. Carl, Mr. Fleabag out there, set up that metal coin bag, and bam, you guys are ready to go. Very seamless in the setup, nothing long, nothing extraneous, so I'm giving that an 8 out of 10. All right, moving on to the length here. So on the box, it does say 45 minutes, and I think that is a good time frame for Bedeville Carnival here, so I'm gonna go ahead and give them a 7 out of 10. Normally, a 2-player game is gonna run you about 40 to 50 minutes, so pretty much not a whole lot to talk about. Like I said, I think that's a good time frame and range for Bedeville Carnival. So 7 out of 10 there for the length. All right, moving on to the difficulty. Now remember, guys, as always with the difficulty, the lower the number, the easier we feel the game is to grasp and understand. The higher the number, the more challenging or difficult we feel the game is to grasp and understand. And I think Bedeville Carnival is a 3 out of 10. I think the core mechanics of the game is very easy to pick up because everything that you have to do on your turn is mandatory, and it's really in steps. And there's only like 5 things that you got to do. Step number 1 is you got to move to a new attraction. You cannot stay on the same attraction. So you must move to a new attraction. When you move to that new attraction, you pick up the joy markers right underneath it. Then you activate the attraction's ability, and then you add noise markers to that attraction, and the number is right there on the card itself. And then you draw a little token from the bag. Now, before your turn, you have 2 optional steps that you can take, which is basically either trading in a joy marker or buying a souvenir. So to me, all that is really simple and easy. It might take you about 2 or 3 turns to fully grasp all the little intricate details. The more challenging parts of the game is obviously those player powers and abilities, and then Mr. Carl and Mr. Fleabag. Almost said the wrong word there. Mr. Fleabag, they activate, and when they activate, you got to do certain things like discard souvenir cards or attraction cards. But I still don't think that is really challenging to grasp. It's just going to take you a few turns, even on your first playthrough, to kind of get the hang of it. And then once you do, boom, you are ready to go. But I think you could bust this game out to people who have played some moderate board games, like are into the hobby a little bit. I think you could introduce this to them and they would be able to pick it up very quickly. For people that have never really played board games before, I would maybe introduce a game not quite as, I don't want to say heavy, because this game is not really heavy, but there's going to be a pretty big thematic presence to this game that might be off-putting to some people, but I would maybe introduce them to something a little more simpler, and then you could probably bring this out as like a second game or a third game after you've kind of warmed them up. I think that would work really well. So 3 out of 10, excuse me, 3 out of 10 for difficulty for me. All right, moving on to replayability. So I'm going to go ahead and give the replayability a 7 out of 10 here. I think there's just good average replayability here with the game. The thing that really makes the replayability stand out is just a bevy of characters. I think there's about 10 to 12 characters in the game, so it's going to take you a couple playthroughs, about 4 or 5 playthroughs, you know, maybe more than that, to get kind of through all the characters and see what their abilities are every time. So I think that's really cool. But everything else with the game, I mean, it's pretty much just average, right? There's not a whole lot of attraction cards in the game, and they will be getting discarded throughout the course of the game. So about 95% of the time, you're going to get through the entire attraction deck. So you will have seen all the cards in your first playthrough. So when you hit that second playthrough, nothing is going to feel fresh or new to you. Along those same lines, the souvenir deck is kind of small as well. However, these souvenirs don't get replaced throughout the course of a playthrough. So you're just going to put 2 around in these slots. I'm going to say about 2 playthroughs it's going to take you before you get through that whole souvenir deck, before there's nothing new or fresh in regards to that. And so for me, that's kind of why I'm just rating it as average. The only real thing here that's going to be fresh every time is these characters, and that's kind of really what makes the game shine and stand out in the first place. So replayability is a 7 out of 10. Okay, so moving on to the price. So I backed this on Kickstarter for 49 euros, which is about 53 US dollars. I tried to go online and see if I could find somewhere that actually had this in stock. A lot of places had it out of stock, and I really couldn't find a place that had it in stock somewhere. If you do find a place that has it in stock, guys, drop it down in the comments below with that price point so everybody else can see it. But I saw on Loodo Ninja's website they are advertising this for 49 euros, which is 53 US dollars. And look, for 53 US dollars, I'm going to go ahead and give this price point an 8 out of 10. I think that is a great price point for what is a deluxe version of a game. I mean, you're getting acrylic standees, you're getting those metal tokens, a metal first player marker, those 3D coffins, a deluxeified version of a game for 50 to 55 bucks. I mean, that is a great price point. Most deluxe versions of games that you see on Kickstarter are around 70, 75 bucks, you know, somewhere of 80. Some might be 65 as a low, but like I said, for 53 bucks, you hardly ever see a deluxeified version or a collector's box at that price point. And then even afterwards, you know, that price point is always going up. So to see for 49 euros on Loodo Ninja's website, that is a really, really great price point. So 8 out of 10 for me. Okay, moving on to my overall rating here. I'm going to go ahead and give Bedeville Carnival Carnival a 7.5 out of 10. Look, I think the game is a little better than good, but I don't quite think it is great. Here's what I love about the game, and I think works really well. Like I said, the theme really works with the mechanics of the game, and it's unique with those player powers and all the different characters in the game. I think those characters are what really makes the game shine itself. And some playthroughs, what you might find is you might just bounce back and forth to like only 2 or 3 different attractions, because that's gonna get you the most amount of points and work with your strategy best. And so you never really get that full depth of the board based upon that strategy that you need to take to win. And then also, like I said, the production value here is amazing, and it's great, and it's phenomenal, but there's too many different things for me that are like, you know, like the replayability. I think the replayability is really just average here. And so it's not one of those games that you finish and you play and you have that thirst to play it more. I think this is one of those games that is like a seasonal or yearly type game, that like it's a Halloween themed horror game, obviously. So this is a game that you maybe bust out in October every year, like once or twice, or this is a game that you could go and revisit maybe like once a month or once every 2 months to just kind of get something fresh and unique and new. And so for me, that's where it's like really in that in between, right? It's a good game, but it's not great. So it's right in that middle point for me. All right, so the last thing we had the opportunity is, as always, guys, if I had the opportunity to back this game, would I back it again? And I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. I'm gonna say yes for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is obviously the value of the game. Look, I think this is great value for $53 US with the production and the components and everything. I think that's fantastic value, and the game looks great. It's amazing. And then the second reason, like I said, this is a cool, for me, seasonal type game where I'm busting it out in October when it's Halloween season, when it's spooky season. Hey, let's bust out Bedeville Carnival with some friends and kind of get in that horror, like spooky type thing. So I am glad and happy that I backed this game. I'm happy to have this game in my collection, so I would definitely go ahead and back it again. But all right, guys, well, look, those are my thoughts and opinions on Bedeville Carnival, the collector's box, coming to you from Loodo Ninja. If you guys agree with me or disagree with me, go ahead and drop that down in the comments below. Did you guys back this game? Do you own it? Put your thoughts on what you think of this game in the comments below. As always, guys, please go ahead and hit that like button, hit that notification bell if you have not already, and please go ahead and subscribe to our channel so we can keep bringing you more awesome content. All right, guys, y'all have a great one. Bye.